I was running up the stairs to my sister Amara's apartment, calling her name and shaking as I pushed her door open. I was sure I would find her on the floor. Maybe hurt, maybe worse. My heart was beating like metal on metal. The room was too quiet. My legs felt weak. I kept saying her name, begging her to answer. That fear grabbed my whole body like a cold hand, and I thought that day would be the day my life would break. Hours before that moment, my day had started like any normal Thursday. I was in the office, tired from work and thinking of how I would go home and sleep early. The sun outside was strong, the kind that makes the air heavy even inside an air-conditioned room. My phone was on my table. I had just finished replying to emails when the notification sound came. I did not check it at first. I thought it was one of those group chats I had muted long ago. Then another notification came. I looked down and saw that it was a voice note from Amara. My heart moved small because she hardly sends voice notes. She is the type that likes typing long messages and adding too many smiley faces. Without thinking too much, I pressed play. The first thing I heard was crying. Not small crying, deep crying from the chest. I stopped breathing for a second. Then her voice came, shaky and weak. She said she was tired. She said she could not do it again. She said her heart felt heavy, like she was carrying a load that was bigger than her. She said she could not breathe well. She said she felt trapped. The voice note ended in a sharp breath, and the phone went silent. For some seconds, I did not even understand what I had heard. My whole body became hot. I stood up so fast my chair fell. My colleague asked if I was fine, but I could not answer. I just grabbed my bag and rushed outside. While I was driving out of the office, I kept calling her phone. No answer. I called again and again, and each time it rang without her picking. My fear grew. I even called her fiancé Dapo. He said he had stepped out earlier and that she did not sound fine in the morning. That only made everything worse. Every traffic light felt too slow. Every red brake light in front of me looked like it was blocking me on purpose. My fingers were shaking on the steering wheel. I prayed with my whole heart as I drove. I told God not to allow something terrible to happen to my sister. When I finally reached her compound, I did not even greet the security man. I ran straight to her flat. I knocked and knocked. No answer. I used the spare key she once gave me and pushed the door open. The sight I met inside did not match the fear in my chest. And that was when I understood that this journey had only just started. The first thing that confused me when I entered the apartment was the smell. It was calm, like vanilla and candle smoke, not the smell of fear or panic I had prepared myself for while driving. I stepped inside slowly, my heart still beating too fast, ready to break if I saw anything strange. The house was neat. Too neat. The kind of neat that looked planned. A small speaker was playing soft music, the type Amara listens to when she is trying to relax or think deeply. Candles were arranged on the dining table like someone wanted to create a peaceful place. But there was no peace in my chest. I called her name again as I dropped my bag and walked into the sitting room. My voice came out dry. My eyes moved around the room, trying to understand what was going on. Then I saw her. She was sitting on the floor, leaning her back on the sofa. Her eyes were swollen like she had cried for hours. Her hands were on her lap. She looked surprised when she saw me standing there with fear written all over my face. I rushed to her. My legs were shaking. I knelt beside her and held her shoulders. She tried to smile, but her lips did not follow the smile fully. She looked like someone whose strength had finished. I asked her what happened. I asked her if she was hurt. I asked her why she sent that kind of voice note. I asked everything at once because the fear in me was still loud. She only shook her head and looked down at her fingers. She wiped her face with the back of her hand and took one slow breath. She said she did not plan to send the voice note. She said she was only talking to herself, trying to let out everything in her mind, and her hand pressed send by mistake. When she said that, I felt something heavy fall inside my chest. Not relief, not anger, something in between. I told her she scared me. I told her I thought something terrible would happen to her. She looked ashamed. She said she was sorry. She said she did not know how to talk anymore. She said she feels like she is drowning every day, even when she is smiling in front of everybody. I sat beside her and pulled her close. Her body was cold, like she had been holding her breath for too long. I asked her if it was work or health or money. She said no. I asked if it was Dapo. She looked away. That was when I knew the real problem was bigger than what she had said in the voice note. She started crying again, but this time it was not loud. It was slow and tired, like her tears had been waiting a long time to come out. She said she felt trapped. She said she felt like she was entering a life she did not choose. She said she did not know how to tell anybody because everybody expected her to be happy. She said she did not want to disappoint our mother. She said she did not want to shame the family. She said she did not want to hurt Dapo. She said she did not want to be seen as a bad person. Her words came out in pieces, but they hit me hard. I held her tighter. I kept thinking of the candles, the music, the clean house. She had been preparing for something. She had been rehearsing something. Before I could ask her again to explain, we heard footsteps outside the door. Then the knock came. Hard, fast, and both of us froze. The knock sounded like someone hitting the door with worry in their hands. I stood up slowly while Amara wiped her face fast, like she wanted to hide every tear before the person entered. I walked to the door with my chest rising and falling too quickly. When I opened it, I saw our mother standing there, her wrapper tied tight around her waist, her face full of fear and anger mixed together. Behind her was Dapo, looking confused and stressed at the same time. My mother pushed the door open wider and walked inside without waiting for me to talk. She looked around the room the same way I did when I first entered, scanning everywhere like she expected to see danger. Then her eyes landed on Amara, sitting on the floor. She rushed to her and held her shoulders. She asked her what was going on. She asked why her phone had been off. She asked why she had been crying. She asked if she was sick. She asked if someone threatened her. The questions poured out like water from a broken pipe. Amara looked at me. I nodded small, telling her silently to speak her truth. She swallowed hard. Her voice was shaky again when she finally spoke. She said she was not sick. She said nothing bad happened to her physically. She said she just felt heavy. She said she felt tired inside her heart. Our mother pulled back slightly and looked at her with shock. She asked her tired from what? She asked her what she was hiding. She asked her why she made everybody panic. Then she turned to face me and asked if I knew what was going on. Before I could answer, Amara said she wanted to call off the wedding. The whole room went silent. It was like the air left the apartment for a second. Then everything exploded at once. Our mother stood up sharply, pointing at her like she did not believe what she heard. She asked if she was joking. She asked if she had lost her senses. She asked if she understood the disgrace she was about to bring on the family. She asked if she wanted people to laugh at us. She asked if she wanted church members to gossip for months. Dapo took one step forward. His voice was calm but heavy. He asked her if she was unhappy with him. He asked her why she did not say anything before. He said he felt like someone hit him in the chest. He said he did not know whether to be angry or hurt. He said he just wanted the truth. Amara started crying again, this time louder than before. She said she had been forcing herself to smile. She said she liked him but did not feel that deep kind of love people talk about. She said every time she thought about the wedding day, her heart would shake inside her. She said she felt trapped and scared and guilty all at the same time. She said she did not want to pretend. Our mother turned to me and asked what I had been telling her. She said I was the one filling her head with nonsense. She said I wanted to scatter my sister's joy because I was not married yet. Her words cut deep. I felt pain and anger rise inside me, but I swallowed all of it because this moment was not about me. I told her calmly that Amara had been crying alone for too long. I told her this was not a small matter. I told her forcing her to marry would only destroy her. But my mother did not want to hear anything. She kept pacing the room, angry tears forming in her eyes, saying this was an embarrassment. Dapo sat on the arm of the sofa and covered his face with both hands. I could see his shoulders shaking. He was fighting his own pain quietly. Amara crawled closer to me and leaned on my leg like a child. She kept saying she was sorry. Sorry to Dapo. Sorry to our mother. Sorry to everyone. Sorry for being tired. Sorry for being confused. Sorry for wanting peace. The whole room felt like a pot that was about to boil over. Nobody knew what to do next. Nobody knew what the right step was. We were all standing inside a truth that was too heavy for everyone, and I knew this was only the beginning of the storm. The room felt too small for all the emotions inside it. My mother was still pacing, her wrapper moving side to side as she muttered under her breath. Dapo sat silently, his elbows on his knees, his hands covering half his face like he was trying to hide the pain he did not want us to see. Amara stayed on the floor beside me, shaking like someone sitting under cold rain. I placed my hand on her back, trying to give her small strength even though I too felt weak inside. My mother suddenly stopped in front of us. She asked Amara if she understood what she was saying. She asked her if she had thought about all the money spent already. She asked her if she knew the shame that would follow. She asked her if she wanted people to start calling her unserious. Her voice rose and fell, rising when she was angry and falling when she was hurt. She kept saying this was not how she raised her daughters. Amara looked up at her with wet eyes. She said she had tried to be strong. She said she had pushed herself every day. She said she had prayed for her heart to change. She said she respected Dapo so much, and that was why she did not want to lie to him. She said she would rather face shame than live a life that felt like a cage. Our mother's face softened for 1 second. Then it hardened again as she turned to Dapo. She told him not to listen to Amara, that she was only overwhelmed and confused. She told him that young women panic before weddings, that it was normal. She told him she would talk to her properly and everything would go back to normal. But Dapo did not look convinced. He lifted his head slowly and looked at Amara with eyes full of quiet hurt. He asked her one question. He asked her if she truly did not want to marry him. His voice did not shake. It was steady, but it carried pain that made my own chest tighten. Amara looked at him, and her lips trembled. She said she did not want to hurt him. She said he was a good man. She said he had never treated her badly. She said she cared for him. But she said she did not feel ready. She said her heart felt wrong every time she imagined standing in front of people and saying yes. That was when Dapo stood up. He did not shout. He did not argue. He just stood. He said he needed air. He said he needed space to think. He said he did not want to force anyone to love him. Then he walked out of the room slowly, like each step was carrying a heavy stone. Our mother called after him, telling him not to mind Amara, but he did not answer. The door closed gently behind him, but the sound felt loud to all of us. Silence filled the room again, a heavy silence that made the candles flickering on the table look strange, like they were part of a different world from the one we were sitting in. Our mother turned to Amara with frustration. She asked her why she waited this long to speak. She asked her if she enjoyed seeing people suffer. She asked her if she understood that men like Dapo were not easy to find. She asked her if she was not afraid of being alone. Amara's shoulders dropped. She said she was tired of living in fear. She said she wanted peace. She said she wanted time to find her own voice. She said she wanted to breathe without pretending. I stepped in front of them both and told our mother to stop shouting. I told her that pushing Amara would only break her more. I told her that we needed to calm down and think like a family, not like people fighting a battle no one could win. My mother's eyes glistened with angry tears. She picked up her bag, wiped her face quickly, and said she was leaving before she said something she would regret. She walked out, closing the door harder than necessary. When the sound of the door disappeared, Amara broke down again, her whole body shaking as she cried into my lap. I wrapped my arms around her and held her. For the first time that day, I felt the full weight of what was coming. The wedding, the gossip, the family backlash, the disappointment, the pain. All of it was waiting for us like a storm, and I knew the only way out was to walk straight into it with her. The night after everything happened was one of the longest nights of my life. I slept in Amara's apartment because I did not trust her to be alone after all the crying and shaking. She lay on the bed staring at the ceiling while I sat by the window looking out at the dark compound. The whole place was quiet except for the hum of a generator somewhere far away. My mind was full of thoughts, heavy ones that refused to settle. Early in the morning, Amara sat up slowly. Her eyes were swollen, but there was a small calmness in her face, the kind that comes after releasing a heavy burden. She said she was scared of what would happen next. She said she felt guilty for hurting Dapo and disappointing our mother. She said she did not want to be seen as a failure. I told her that choosing honesty was not failure. I told her that living a lie would have caused more pain than this. Later that day, the calls started coming. Our mother called me first. She said she could not talk to Amara yet because her head was still hot. She asked if I was proud of myself. She asked if I was happy that the wedding was shaking. I kept quiet because I knew anything I said would only make everything worse. She ended the call with a deep sigh that stayed in my chest long after the phone went silent. Aunties started calling too. Some pretended to be concerned. Some wanted gossip. Some asked if there was another man. Some said Amara was too picky. Some said we had brought shame to the family. I cut the calls short because I did not want Amara to hear even one word. In the afternoon, Dapo sent a message. He said he needed a few days to think. He said he was hurt, but he did not hate her. He said he wished she had spoken earlier. His words were soft, but full of sadness. When I read it to Amara, her hands started shaking again. She held her pillow close and cried quietly. I sat beside her and rubbed her back. I told her it would take time for things to settle. 2 days passed. Our mother did not visit. She only sent one short message telling Amara to come home when she was ready to talk. I knew what that meant. It was not anger anymore. It was acceptance wrapped inside small disappointment. It was her own way of processing her pain. On the third evening, Amara and I sat on her balcony. The sun was going down slowly, painting the sky with soft colors. Lagos noises floated in from the distance. Children were playing downstairs. Car horns sounded from the main road. For the first time since the voice note, everything felt normal again. Amara leaned her head on my shoulder and whispered that she felt lighter. She said it still hurt, but she could breathe now. She said she did not know what the future would look like, but she knew she wanted to live it without pretending. She said she was grateful I came that day. She said she did not know what she would have done alone. I looked at her and saw strength slowly returning to her eyes, like someone waking up after a long sleep. I realized something at that moment. Sometimes the breaking of something is not the end. Sometimes it is the beginning of something new, something real. When night finally covered the sky, we sat there quietly, listening to the breeze. And in that silence, I knew we would be fine. Maybe not immediately, maybe not perfectly, but slowly, step by step, we would rebuild. The storm had passed, and even though it left its marks on all of us, it also opened a space for truth, for healing, and for the kind of peace that comes only when you stop running from your own heart.